In this section, we will go through how to give someone accurate and clear instructions, as well as how to give helpful and appropriate advice. Let's get started. Before we learn how to give someone instructions, it is useful for us to also learn the phrases that we would use when asking for instructions in the first place. So typically we would be asking someone either how to do something or how to get somewhere, so asking for directions. So some common phrases that we can use in this situation is how do I get somewhere or do something? What is the best way to do something or get to a place? How do I go about doing that? How do you suggest I get there or do that? And what do I need to do first? When giving instructions or directions to someone, we typically break it down into steps or stages. So, for example, if we were to explain to someone the directions of how to get to a bus stop that they were looking for, we could say something like, first walk to the end of the road, and when you see the traffic light, then turn left, and then you should see the bus stop in front of you. Or if we were giving someone instructions as to how to fry an egg, for example, we could say the first step is to heat up a pan with some oil. Next, we would crack an egg into the pan, and then we would let this egg fry for around 5 minutes and turn if desired. Now, it is important to note that whenever we are giving instructions or directions, we use the imperative. So the imperative means that our sentence does not have a subject. We don't need to add a subject, but the subject is always implied in our sentence. So let me break this down for you. This implied subject is always the listener, the person who we would refer to as you in a typical sentence. So, for example, instead of saying you need to go to the end of the road, the implied sentence would simply say go to the end of the road. So this makes the instruction much more direct sounding, but it is also okay to be direct in this situation because we are simply giving a set of instructions or a set of things that we need someone to follow. And this is very typical if you have ever read a manual for something, or when you see any signs that are giving some kinds of instructions or rules, you will notice that they are always using the imperative. So you might see something in a manual that will have instructions that say, hold down on button for 3 seconds, enter password, device is ready to be used. So giving instructions and directions always follows the same formula of using the imperative and also giving step-by-step instructions. So it is quite an intuitive and easy way to actually put sentences together because you don't have to worry about the subject at all. Look over these phrases again and write them down, and also take note of how to use the imperative because you will need this for the activity, which is coming up later in this section. But for now, once you're done, let's move to the next lecture where we will learn how to give effective advice.